Welcome, IndyCar fans, to the Central Indiana Sports Report for a special edition of the IndyCar Report with Eljiah Poe. We are joined briefly here by Dave Chanley, who's about to participate in basketball practice in Pekin, but going to give his thoughts real fast. But, guys, it was a dramatic finish, a race that ended so late that we couldn't get everyone together after the race. So here we are now kind of trying to get it in at a time when everyone could join us. But it was another fantastic race at Gateway. Three guys on the podium who really needed good finishes, starting, of course, with the King of St. Louis, Josef Newgarden. Welcome, Grant and Dave. Late night, but a good time.
Yeah, we've talked about just how impressive these Indy cars are on ovals. And my goodness, what a showing it was. I'm really interested to hear what you have to say, Dave, because it was a crazy race.
It was great. Aren't ovals great? Ovals are great.
Yeah.
And it was a good race, solid race. Of course, we wish it wouldn't had to be stopped by rain, because I think that played into a couple of factors there. But some guys came from the back. There were some impressive guys. I want to say Fox was fantastic because we got to see a lot of passes in the mid-pack. And Newgarden just had the car at the end of the race. I don't think he had it in the middle of the race. I think Ericsson had it in the middle of the race. How does the weather affect a car? Everything affects those cars. But I think Ericsson had a great hold on it, and then Newgarden was fantastic. My hat's off to him. It was one of the rare times where Poe did not have the best car, and it's also one of the rare times when his crew made a mistake, and he paid for it. I want to shout out Collett. Wow, I think this kid's going to be a racer. I really think he's going to be a good driver.
Dave, Poe, their team had the exact right strategy, and they missed it by about a hundredth of a gallon.
Yeah, it did. He needed to come in one lap earlier. Hindsight for Poe, but he didn't, and that didn't hurt him too bad in the standings, in the championship standings. But it makes it more interesting as we go to the next venue. I failed to mention Rasmussen coming from the back. The dude on an oval, that dude's a wild man. He is fantastic on an oval.
I said to producer Susie, Dave, I really miss Connor Daly in this race, but Christian Rasmussen is helping with that a little bit with his moves.
Yes. The track was fantastic, too. They could go too wide. They could go high line. It just made for great racing. And that's what short ovals do. They make for great racing.
You know, in that crowd to start, obviously we had the rain, which left which had some people leave, obviously, by the time we were all said and done. But that crowd at the start, I think, should be a message to everybody in IndyCar that we need to be on short ovals. And that place was absolutely packed in St. Louis. There are short ovals all around the country, and especially in markets IndyCar hasn't dabbled into yet, where IndyCar needs to be racing at, because that race was absolutely fantastic. And, we talk about Christian Rasmussen kind of having a Connor Daly effect. And I said that Rasmussen has a guaranteed spot to be a contender in 4 to 5 races, just like Connor Daly. And my goodness, he is just incredible on the ovals. You can obviously tell he is not afraid to crash. That's for sure.
Nope.
No, he hangs it out there. It's fun. He's fun to watch. He is fun to follow.
4 different teams in the top 4, including Rinus Veekay, who goes Hollander in 4th place.
I didn't mention Rinus, but great drive by Rinus Veekay as well. It was just refreshing to see those guys really battling up there. And they were. It was a battle the whole way for all the places. 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th. Those guys were fighting each other for just a few points. So it was just a classic, fun-to-watch race.
And all the different strategies before we let you go, Dave. And another one, Ganassi just missed with Dixon as well. Perfect all night on the strategy and just got caught out on a yellow when he was about to pit.
And when he was about to pit. Yep. Bad luck of racing. He had a bad luck of stroke of racing. That happens. and he was doing his thing. He was getting 2 more laps than everybody else on a tank of fuel, and I can't wait till, as I said, I'm going to go to the Nashville, Tennessee race. Oh man,
that'd be a good one.
That will be fun to watch. Guys, I'm going to head out, but enjoy the rest of the conversation. I thank you for having me on.
Thanks for your
Dave.
time.
I'm going to carpool with you to Nashville, just so you know.
All right, sounds good.
Thanks so much to Dave for joining us. Hope he can join us again on Wednesday for the IndyCar report. We'll also get Michelle Garman's thoughts on Sunday night's race on this week's IndyCar report. I love the Sunday night race, Eljiah. I will say I think they needed to make it an hour earlier.
Oof. I mean, I'm in Central Time now, but my goodness, it was a long night. And I think honestly, the rain made it worse just because those cautions were a little bit lengthier than what we're used to. 9 o'clock Eastern start time, I think it's kind of pushing losing viewers by the time that race is ending, especially if there's going to be any weather. But man, those Indy cars do look good at night, don't they?
Oh, and the racing was so good. It's so compelling every week. I was telling producer Susie again last night, Eljiah, that there was a time not that long ago where if it hadn't been for the Indy 500 being the centerpiece of the series, I just wasn't that interested. I would watch the races until Indy because I'm so interested in the Indy 500 that was why I was watching, to see who would be the contenders at Indy, what the cars were going to look like at Indy. And the rest of the series just didn't interest me as much. Going back, I was an every race kind of guy. It just kind of lost my interest. But man, they have completely gotten it back. It is so much fun, no matter the venue. Last week at Detroit, the narrow streets, they're bumping each other. They're racing the entire race. So much fun. Then they go to St. Louis. And again, not a dramatic finish like we expect on ovals, but it was dramatic for the first 480 kilometers, of the 500. And Josef Newgarden drove away at the end, again, king of St. Louis. So
it was
your
really
thoughts on Newgarden.
It's just kind of crazy to see Newgarden year in and year out. We know how good he is at St. Louis, but the fact he's won here now 6 times, track record, it's pretty incredible. There's not a lot of drivers who can come out and just stick it on a short oval or really any oval, but Newgarden is that driver. Obviously, we know he won at Phoenix earlier in the year, and even though Marcus Ericsson was within roughly 0.6 to maybe 0.4 even some laps, I don't think it was ever really a question that Newgarden was going to win that race as laps started ticking down. Even though Marcus was maybe kind of just behind him, I even think if Marcus is able to pass him, I think Newgarden would have made something work. I just think his skill around these short ovals is super, super impressive. And we know he's in a good car, but you still have to win the race.
And Newgarden's really good at dialing in a car and having it good on the last stint, particularly on the short ovals.
And I think credit to Marcus Ericsson, who had never even led a lap around Worldwide Technology Raceway, leading the most laps today. It was very, very impressive to see him run there. And in a contract year as well, I think he's kind of proving himself to be a more than competent driver in this series. We know how well he runs at Indianapolis, but man, he's really had some good results here so far.
Best car, and as you said, very impressive drive. I think even more than that, Eljiah, a very needed performance.
Yes, it is. Especially right now when you start getting in the middle of June, start getting into maybe July, where, the season's not completely over, but contracts and silly season are starting now. So definitely a big result by Ericsson. And I think I would honestly be surprised if he's not back in that seat next year, just because what team wouldn't want Marcus Ericsson in their car for the 500, honestly?
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens there with Ericsson and Andretti, and Andretti's future plans don't really seem to include him.
No.
So, but as you said, why wouldn't you want Marcus Ericsson if you're Michael Andretti? He won the 500. He's in the mix every year. It's the same thing I argue with Connor Daly. If you got a guy can win the Indy 500 every year, lock him down.
And it's going to be interesting to see how that plays off. And I also got to give credit to Rinus Veekay. I know we talked about him for a quick second, but I was honestly shocked how he was able to stay with Newgarden, Ericsson, and Rasmussen pretty much until the end. Sure, he was about a second and a half behind Rasmussen, so not totally in it, but he had a 4-second gap on Scott McLaughlin in fifth and was staying with that front-running pack for a majority of the time. Super, super impressive out of Rinus.
Yeah, no doubt about it. It's kind of like I'll just go to the smallest team. I'll just beat you there. It doesn't really matter where I go. I'll go from Ed Carpenter Racing, a mid-pack team, to Foyt Racing, which is probably considered a bottom-tier team, and then Juncos Hollinger, which not only is considered a bottom-tier team, but is a new team. And I'll just continue to beat you with that. Well, the other Penske's were not good all night. The Arrow McLarens were not good at all. The Rahal Letterman cars, were just so bad. And I'm just going to avoid talking about Nolan Siegel and Kiffin Simpson because I'm just beating a dead horse there. But anyway, if you're Arrow McLaren or Ganassi, I just don't know why you wouldn't say, hey, that guy's beating us in a Juncos Hollinger. Why wouldn't I want him?
We're talking about Aaron McLaren. What a brutal result. Christian Lundgaard in 10th, Pato Award in 11th, and poor Nolan Siegel getting crashed out on the 53rd lap, or I should say crashed himself. Just kind of turned in on Pelot there into that corner. But for how good...
later we saw Pelot not have the corner there, and he gave the other car plenty of space going through that corner. There was no reason that, we had some people argue in our text chain, and I think you could make the argument that Pelot went a little wide there, that he could have been a little friendlier in the exchange as well. But all night, if somebody had the corner there, the other person gave it to him.
Pelot had that racing line. That corner was his. That's for sure. Had more speed. But man, poor Pato Award, I feel like just cannot catch a break this season, ending up in 11th. That Arrow McLaren car, I think it's the first time in a couple of years where I'm kind of concerned about the direction of that program, just because I feel like they've been almost a non-factor all year. I mean, every race.
Not good. I can't imagine how frustrated Pato is because he knows he's as talented as anybody.
It's got to be frustrating for him. And even Lundgaard, who's not the best on the short ovals, but has had a few results this year, for him to finish in 10th, fastest Air McLaren finishing in 10th is a bad sign.
Bad sign.
And even for poor David Malukas, who we both predicted to win, ending up in 7th. I know he's been credited as saying that their car setup was just completely wrong for the race, but
it was a strategy move at the end. Otherwise, they're probably behind the Arrow McLarens, McLaughlin and Malukas. If they don't go in and take tires at the end, they're probably right there fighting with the two Arrow McLarens in just a performance that's not very good. So I don't know what to take away from this from Penske. Are they back? Are they not? Is it just Newgarden on short ovals is so good but the other two were not good?
Even though I don't think Scotty Mack or David Malukas had a real shot at winning it later on, a 1st, a 5th, and a 7th place result is pretty solid just for points. But then again, when you're at a Penske...
You're in a Penske and you're being passed all night by Christian Rasmussen and an ECR, Rinus Veekay and a Juncos Hollinger. You're being passed all night by Caio Collett. You're being passed all night by Marcus Armstrong and Felix Rosenquist. And they just were not good cars. I don't know why. Again, at the end, McLaughlin was as good as anybody when he went and got fresh tires on the final, when there was yellow on the final restart. But they seem lost still. I'm not convinced that Penske's back.
I think Road America is a good circuit for them to maybe see where they're at here in about a week and a half. I think that's a good tester because it's obviously got some longer, faster corners, but it also has some long straights and some hard braking zones. So that'd be a really, really good event. I think that's a good tester because we know they're going to be good on the ovals. I wouldn't be surprised if Josef Newgarden wins one of the races at Milwaukee, and he'll probably win the race in Nashville. He almost always does. But it's going to be interesting. I think David Malukas, obviously, who's in third right now in the points, there's a possibility where if Newgarden continues his stretch on the ovals, I wouldn't be totally shocked to see him maybe catch David Malukas.
Bit of drama in the driver standings now that Alex Palou, bad night, finished 17th. Clearly wasn't his night anyway, and then ran out of fuel, just missed the strategy that might have had him in the top 5 at the end of the night, and finished 17th, one spot behind Mick Schumacher.
Yeah, shout out Mick Schumacher. I have to say, I'm not disappointed in his 16th place finish. Obviously, we know he's new to ovals, and on a short oval, especially with how much traffic there is, man, is there a lot of opportunities to crash. And the fact he just kept it out of the wall, ran the race he ran, moved up 2 spots, I think is a positive result. Is 16th good by any means? No, but he didn't crash out of the race.
One of his teammates, his more experienced teammate, did because the car was so bad, and his other teammate was one of the 2 worst cars all night, along with Kiffin Simpson in a Ganassi. Nice performance. I just don't know just don't understand why it's taken him so long to get the Indy car.
I think Road America could be, kind of like I said for the Penske's, I think Road America mimics a Formula One track probably best out of all the IndyCar road courses we go to. So I'm actually pretty excited to see what he can do in that RLL car because that car was pretty good there last year. I think Graham Rahal was in the Fast 6, and I know Louis Foster was on pole. So We'll have to see what happens.
Yeah, it should be a fun weekend ahead next week. We'll talk more about it Wednesday or Thursday on the IndyCar report, depending on when we can get everybody together. Real fast before we go, and we'll talk more about this on the IndyCar report, Eljiah, but Alex Palou now with a 49-point lead on Kyle Kirkwood. We have 6 drivers now within 104 points.
I think it's still no doubt Palou. I think that's a no-brainer, especially with the schedule coming up. You know, you look at these courses, and these are all tracks Alex Palou tends to dominate. But that being said, 49 points is less than it was around like 60 or 70 points here before we started. So
it's a couple of DNFs from being competitive.
You really never know. He could get hit on the very first lap because we know he's going to be up top near the pole. He could get hit on the first lap and spin.
Anything can happen.
So I think right now, I think Kirkwood and Malukas are real challengers, and I kind of look at Newgarden at 6, 104 points out from first. We know that there's 3 oval races left in the calendar, and he's going to be probably in the top 3 every single one of them unless he's crashed out. So it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out for sure.
I just want to say impressive for Lundgaard and Ward to be in 4th and 5th when they just have not had competitive cars.
Yeah, I think it just goes to show you how great those drivers are. I mean, we know how good Pato is, but Lundgaard's really came into his own in these last couple of years, especially after last season. I think he's a pretty accredited driver, and man, it's just a shame. I hope that Air McLaren car gets better because, man, it'd be fun for Pato O'Ward and Christian Lundgaard to battle with Palou and Kirkwood, that's for sure.
I think I've said it about 10 times on this podcast, but we will be back later this week, either Wednesday night or Thursday morning, with our weekly IndyCar report. As the series takes a week off, we'll get Michelle Garman's thoughts and hopefully some others. We'll continue the conversation about the championship race and other topics as well. Thanks so much to Eljiah and Dave for joining me. Thank you so much for listening. Always appreciate it. Also, the Fever Play Monday night. Make sure you check out that reaction podcast as well. The Central Indiana Sports Report is a product of ITG Media. And I sure do love you, Susie.